Thanks for tuning into the Salt Block. If you like this video, hopefully you like the others. Feel free to like, follow, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Many have suspected that the American presidential elections are oftentimes rigged. Well, between the years of 1984 and 2024, there's a lot of parallels between the candidates, their policies, and their procedures are quite apparent. This is a special broadcast from the Salt Block. Welcome to everyone who watched this here. I hope this is very enlightening for you and challenging for you, but also to see how much you know and understand what has happened in previous American elections. You see, from a biblical perspective, the Bible called this in the book of Revelation, chapter 17, verse 5 and 6, Mystery Babylon. And they are forces behind the scene working to orchestrate and manipulate the elections of America and also all over the world. You see, the fertility cults. America has varied representations of fertility. For example, the Washington Monument is the obelisk, how it represents the male phallic symbol, and that symbol represents fertility. It also represents sacrifice, human sacrifice, and also child sacrifice, which is exemplified by today's abortion movement. We also recognize that it's associated in ancient times in Babylon, also in Egypt, with Baal worship. And Baal worship, of course, having its impact on Israel in many countries around the world, it has this very profound impact in our society today. You see, what we see right now is the controlled demolition of America. And in this controlled demolition, what we're looking at is its destruction and using women and minorities as the mechanisms for destruction. How is that being accomplished? Well, first and foremost, the destruction of the nuclear family. The nuclear family must be destroyed. The Christian religion must be destroyed. Our patriarchal government structure of white males primarily, that must be destroyed. The great economic foundation that we've been laid upon, capitalism, must also be destroyed. How is that being done? Through our economic disasters associated with our enormous debt. We're also seeing how the gender neutral society is being created, whereby which males and females are confused about the gender, who they are and what they are. All these are direct assaults and attacks on the Bible itself. You see, the thief cometh but to steal, to kill, and to destroy. That is Satan's mission, his purpose, and objectives. And so the political parties we have today, there's only one party, if you may not be aware of this, that one party has two extreme wings, the extreme right, the extreme left, and yes, that's the Democrat and Republican Party. These extreme concepts is espoused by Karl Marx in the Communist Manifesto. You must have the extreme right and the extreme left to go against one another. Having this social conflict, you divide and conquer, and you create revolution. And in that revolution, you create new societies. So America right now is in the midst of that ultimate revolution endorsed by a young man by the name of Ralph Dorndorf, a German sociologist who said every element within our culture, within our society, must be destroyed. By turning husband against the wife, children against the parents, government, the police, everybody against one another. That is their primary purpose, and that is what's happening in America, leading to anarchy. When the anarchy is formed, what happened after that? A new government must be established, a new world order is being forged, and people are not aware of this, even in America. You see, the spirits that are operating today in our country, the United States, is the spirit of Jezebel and Ahab. And we're going to see how those two spirits have been working through many of our presidential campaigns. Also, the next highest level beyond Jezebel was her daughter, Athaliah. She, of course, murdered her grandchildren so she could become queen of Israel. Israel only had one queen, and it seemed like America may be crowning one queen of our first president very soon. We'll see how this unfolds. So let's kind of look back at what's happened. First and foremost, the Rockefeller-backed Planned Parenthood has been an organization that has supported eugenics. It has been supported the destruction of the family, and also with the elements to control eugenics or population reduction. You give people drugs, same-sex marriage because they can't produce anything. You create wars, create famine. You create all form of pestilence just to reduce global population. But we are focused primarily right now how from 1984 in particular up until now, The spirits of Jezebel and Ahab had been very vehemently at work to destroy this country. 1984, presidential election. Walter Mondale, Geraldine Ferraro. They're the ones who really introduced strongly the idea where you will have same-sex marriages and also promote the abortion movement. At that time, the American populace utterly rejected it. What happened in the election in 1984, running against Ronald Reagan? Well, the Democratic Party suffered its worst defeat in America's history. It only had 13 electoral votes. One state, Minnesota, and 3 electoral votes from Washington, D.C. A total wash, a total demolishing of the Democratic candidate and their policies at that time. Geraldine Ferraro, in her elements, they introduced the idea that is found in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 16, verse 49. It says that these are the 3 sins of Sodom: pride, number 1, affluence, and number 3, idle time. Idle time, the people are sent to contemplate affluence, money. Right now, a lot of, in a sense, ample time to get involved in all forms of perversion and also things not necessary for life and survival. So when these things developed, 1984 was the pivotal point, the beginning of this process, to release the spirit of Jezebel and the spirit of Ahab in America. In 1992, Jezebel herself showed up, Hillary Clinton. Hillary and Bill, of course, they showed up promoting the abortion method called partial birth, abortion, supporting that. Up until the baby's birth, they actually would deliver the baby feet first and then breech, that is, and then do whatever they do is necessary to make sure the baby is not alive when it comes fully out of the mother's womb. Partial birth, abortion. This is what was done with Astaroth, the ancient goddess, female fertility goddess, as well as Baal and Moloch, when they sacrificed the children to the fire throughout ancient history and ancient times. But the Clintons, in order for Clinton to become president, though, it was very interesting how that Ross Perot, a billionaire Republican, he basically took all the votes from Bush so that Clinton can narrowly win the election by 5% margin. Actually, Ross Perot was ahead of both Clinton and Bush. He actually got out of the race, but jumped back in at the last minute, did the crumb snatcher to steal the votes from Bush so Clinton could win. So now they have Clinton in office and Jezebel, Ahab and Jezebel at work. The game had begun. We'll see now the next election. It was in 2008, where Obama and Michelle running for office, of course. And during that election, you have Nimrod, in a sense, the black version of the biblical character found in Genesis chapter 11. Again, the father of the Babylonian mysteries of Egypt and Babylon, founder of all the secret societies, Freemasons, etc. today. That person who would become president without, you might say, Michelle, might be considered to Semiramis, like his mother goddess, who most people worship, even love her, sometimes even more than him. But either or, some would worship Obama always as God, even in Muslim countries. Who himself was raised as a Muslim in Indonesia, and also his stance in support of Muslim countries was predominant throughout his administration. You see, the Democrat and the party recognized that amazing thing. In order for Obama also to become president, they had, in the first election, they had to run a Republican stooge. His name was John McCain. John McCain, of course, a rhino Republican, he chose whack. He was woke, I guess, whacking his partner, of course, Sarah Palin. She was Mowack. Then he chose an obscure person from Alaska to run as his vice president to make sure that Obama became president. Again, you have the spirits at work. You have collaboration from both political parties to choose our political candidates. Do we actually elect a president, or do we simply select the 2 that presented before us? This is what's happening today. And so with the administration, with Sarah Palin, they would then augment this in all their campaigns through the media to get the people in support of all this here through programs like The View. The View, of course, is anti-male, supported by radical feminists, and also they were anti-God in their stance, in their belief structure. And another element to put on the political side, you had the Squad. The Squad, they were the Sikkim dogs against the white males in Congress, against the Christians as well as pro-terrorist organizations around the globe. And so you have The View, you have also The Squad, you have Michelle and Obama working together as neo-colonists. What neo-colonialism is that you have black overseers overseeing the black masses and controlling them, and now they're using the black agenda, to destroy America. God brought us out of the depths of slavery, but now the slaves are in a sense put in the forefront, yet they have handlers controlling them, manipulating the masses so that to destroy this country called America. We also anti-God black congressmen and women and mayors who have taken their stance also to promote the same agenda, singing the same song for destruction of the family, destruction also of our economy, destruction of male roles in the family, and especially the mutilation of men as a stance to control their families. The Antichrist bishops and pimps in the pulpit have been called also to the media, and they're also doing the same. So right now there's concerted effort with the chorus of supported groups to help the political campaign through the media to lead to the next election. That's in 2012. In 2012, something very strange happened. A black man came to the forefront. His name, of course, is Herman Cain. And Herman Cain, he was leading Republican Party. He was actually way out in front, even Daddy Bush, son Bush. He was out in front of all of them. But what happened? He was doing too well with his 999 policy of economic revival of America. So Herman Cain got called by Henry Kissinger. They pulled him off the platform. The alleged allegations of sexual misconduct and everything else, he was yanked from the platform, and they put another Rhino Republican, Mitt Romney, who would later be the only one to vote to impeach Trump, by the way. Romney would become Obama's second running mate because they couldn't have a black man against a black man, Republican and Democrat, in the 2012 election. And so this what happened. Yes, it happened that Obama would win again, thanks to Mitt Romney, the first time thanks to John McCain, who the Democrats loved because they knew who he was. With that being said, it's right, the swamp, as Trump calls it, and others take their stance. We come down to the 2016 election. 2016 election, Hillary Clinton, Jezebel wanted to be on the throne, but no, they decided that Nimrod would probably do better. Nimrod, if you don't know, is the great-grandson of Noah. Well, Noah's son of Ham, Cush, and Nimrod. And so Nimrod took the throne. And what is so amazing about all this here is that the policies of Barack Obama was primarily in support of the gay agenda. In fact, when the Supreme Court ruled during the administration to legalize the gay agenda and the homosexual marriages, what happened is they turned the White House rainbow colors in support and also showing this solidarity. So with all these things stated, America's on the forefront with spiritual dynamics at work that few have ever made the connections. I hope that maybe these connections make sense to you. Because Hillary did not make it, Donald Trump came in. When he came in, he appointed 3 constitutional judges. And these constitutional judges would reverse Roe versus Wade. However, what the courts decided was to have every state make a decision concerning abortion. This kind of set back the abortion movement a little bit. However, at the end of the day, the abortions are still going on in America. It is the murder of those least able to defend themselves. And as we look at what's happening in America, it is utterly repulsive to see how people cannot see the humanity of the developing fetus. Ironically, during the Trump administration, one thing he did do is that whether he's like Nebuchadnezzar of ancient Babylon, or whether he's like Cyrus of ancient Persia, he did move the capital of Israel back to Jerusalem. But with that being said, I will say that 2020 election, Joseph Biden and Kamala Harris. These two came to the forefront, and the primary emphasis was reproductive freedom, reproductive rights, sexual mutilation of children, and males and females now being placed in prisons together. Those who claim that they are of the opposite sex. College dormitories, restrooms, and athletic competitions are right now open seats for everyone. And males, of course, obviously, are not the same as females anatomically. And that is, should be no debate about that, but everything's in flux today. Everything is in debate today. So we have a very interesting dynamic that if we claim that it is the female's right to her body, is her body, then what we have now, the female has been put in the position of the former white slave owner who used property as their primary reason to keep slaves. Today, if it's a woman's property, why should male later on, if she's had to keep the child, pay child support if it's her property? It is an indisputable fact that when the embryo begins to develop and cleavage begins at conception, that this development stages continue from prenatal all the way to postnatal, all the way to old age, and then eventual death. In other words, what we have is a continuum. Life is a continuum after, yes, after conception. If the child is not alive, how does it develop in a 10-month stage? Um, does a woman determine the sex of the child? No. Can a woman have a child without a man? No. Um, are men and women bodies anatomically the same? No. In other words, these things should be answered in the annals of not just in law, but based on morality. The moral stance is that people always justify what they want to do. In other words, Hitler killed nobody, all the people did it. Today, you can convince the ignorant mass to do whatever you want to do, and a good percent of them will be persuaded. So was it the same during slavery, and so is it today. Even today, polygamy. Polygamy is a marriage of, yes, one even marry themselves. Polygamy. Can you imagine that? Also, what about those who are actually marrying their animals today? How about the LGBTQIA? Hey, get that right because it's always changing with more pronouns being added, meaning lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual individuals. What we have is the mental delusions, but now these is not an anatomical delusion. It is just the new norm in our society as the spirits of Jezebel and Ahab become more pronounced, and Athaliah, which is the murder not only of those who are in opposition to her, but also even of her own children, so she can become queen. 2024 Democratic Convention, Chicago. Yes, can you imagine this year? At this convention, what we had is Planned Parenthood set up booths for abortions, and Planned Parenthood also set up booths for those who have vasectomy. Can you imagine the goal of that? But most don't remember how that when the DNC had its convention in Chicago, in Charlotte, North Carolina, several years ago, they took God out of the platform. And religious leaders still went along with the political party, not seeing they're anti-God, anti-Christ, and anti-America. America must be destroyed, and our country is allowing it to happen. Female, okay, in men's restrooms, dormitories, both Antichrist and individuals who support such organizations like BLM, that Black Lives Matter, which is the communist organization, and their antithesis, which is Antifa, the white version of the same organization that goes to create anarchy. And these groups are supported in concert with all the other groups to set up this new world order, destroy America, and destroy our family. So those who support abortion need to understand they probably should not have been born themselves. If they believe in abortion, they should have been aborted. But God allowed them to be born just like he did with Judas to fulfill their role and purpose. And we're living in the last days, my friend. In these last days, he allowed the wicked to do what they will do to fill their role in their script, just like Judas. But in the end, it should be their utter demise, just like Judas. All minorities and women are now officially put on notice. The Lord is soon to come, and they still have time to repent. All lustful, wicked, perverted, Babylonian, and Antichrist preachers will be first to be adjudicated by the God of heaven. So right now, time is short. The election is right around the corner. What will you decide? What spirit will control America, and what will you do to preserve your soul and your decision making? Because whatever belief structure you believe in, what you believe, God will hold you accountable for whatever idea, ideology, or philosophy that exalts itself against his word. It will be brought down. He said in prophet Jeremiah, "Is not my word like a hammer, will crush the rocks into pieces?" He said the heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. Who can know about? I, the Lord, tried the hearts of every man. So in this election that's coming up, we'll see how America being weighed in the balance. Will this country survive? Will it stand? And if so, for how long? Because the oligarchs have controlling all these puppets that they bring to the forefront. But do we actually elect the president, or do we only select the ones that they present before us? You decide. The jury's out. Let you get the verdict. What's your opinion on the matter? Thank you for listening. In the special section, Election Time 2024, the Salt Block.
Thanks for joining the Salt Block. If you like the content that you just heard, feel free to follow along by hitting any of the in-card links above. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe. Most importantly, leave some comments, hit that notification bell.